Welcome into King Wales album review party. Today we are doing a Grammy kind of a recap, refresh. I guess we're taking a look at the Grammys to see who won. Kind of going through, see if we kind of already chose like our dubs and snubs, but trying to see how do we feel about it. It's been a couple of weeks since the
Right.
Grammys. The Super Bowl performance by Kendrick Lamar kind of has an impact on that as well. And yeah, so we're gonna dive right in. But first of all, how you doing, Ty? How's everything been? Feeling good? How are you feeling overall after the Grammys?
Overall, I feel unsurprised. Like to
Surprised. Okay.
su- to sum up the Grammys in a word, like it felt very yeah. Like I honestly wish there was some more of an up. There's one thing that was we'll get to it when we get there, but I found to be an upset that I was pleasantly surprised by. Like
And
it was something I was wanting, and I didn't think she would actually get it, and she did, and I was so excited for her for
yeah,
that. But otherwise, it was a pretty predictable Grammys, I would say.
I would kind of agree. I don't feel like I was like I would not have bet any money that Beyonce was going to win album of the year for Cowboy Carter because I
Right,
feel like the under would have been too low that you would have lost money even if you bet that was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it kind of felt like it was
right.
obvious from the jump. So yeah, I don't really feel surprised. I was a little bit surprised that Not Like Us ended up sweeping record and song of the year. Like I knew it was going to do that for hip hop. There was no surprise there. But
Right.
I was kind of surprised that it kind of ended up sweeping that. So what we'll do for this one, we'll go through each one. We'll try to give a little comments, but just in case people don't know who won in each
Mhm,
category, 'cause not everyone has gotten a chance to check it out. We'll kind of go
mhm.
through each one and just kind of move right along to see how we're feeling about the winners of the Grammy. So the first category,
Right,
obviously the one that people tend to care the most about is
right.
album
Big
of the
one.
year, the big one, right?
Hmm.
And that one was won by Beyonce, which again to me wasn't a challenge. It wasn't a surprise at
A
all.
surprise.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it was written in sand. I think ever since she lost Lemonade for Album of the Year, it was like, okay, next time Beyonce gets nominated for Album of the Year, she has to win it. Like, or otherwise,
Right.
votes against the Grammys.
But yet she didn't win for Renaissance.
She did not, which I wonder if that was like affected by COVID because that happened in 2022, right when we were kind of in the swings of it. But I don't know who ended up winning album of the year that year. I would have to check that out too. If it was Adele
That's
again, I think the Grammys would. But I don't think
yeah.
it was Adele because I think Adele's about to retire actually. But anyway, so she ended up winning, and like you said, I'm not disappointed in the choice at all. I think Jesse was better. I mean, that was my choice. I really, really loved this album, but I don't
Right.
think it was a huge. I'm not disappointed, right? But I think a lot of people, particularly what I've been seeing online, is like fans of Billie Eilish and her album were really disappointed because they felt like Beyonce mainly won because the Grammys felt like they owed her. And in a way, I'm like, well, I mean, they did because Lemonade was the best album of 2016. And
Right.
but in a way, it's also like she's also already like coming into the Grammys, Beyonce already had about 30. Now she has 35. I don't remember how many she won with this one, so it's like, well, if you have the most Grammys in Grammy Award history, which Beyonce does, I'm like,
Right.
do they really owe you for album of the year, the one category you haven't won yet? It's like it's like should Tom Brady, it's like do you need to win the Super Bowl over every single team in the NFL? Like, you know what I mean? Like when he was winning a lot,
Right.
it's like how much more dominance do you need in like musical art and stuff like that? But my only solace is like, guys, if you're upset that Billie Eilish didn't win, she's gonna be around for a long time. The girl is like 20, she's younger than me. She's like
Hmm.
23, 24. So she's gonna win album of the year at some point in her career. It's gonna happen.
Hmm.
So don't worry. I mean, if you really like the album, like I said, I've listened to parts of it. I didn't get to finish the whole thing. But she'll have her chance, is all I'm saying. She will get her moment and she will definitely win a Grammy.
So she Renaissance lost to Harry Styles' Harry's House.
That is very
And
surprising.
an interesting little factoid, so did Kendrick Lamar, because Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers came out that year and was also nominated for Album of the Year at the Grammys, and also lost to Harry Styles.
Mr. Morale, I felt like it wasn't that great, but wow. And I'm honestly, I'm very surprised that it's like Beyonce, they allowed her album to lose to one by a white guy. And Harry Styles, like a black woman's album lost to like just the amount of controversy that could have came out of that. I'm surprised there wasn't more because that was one of the huge things about Lemonade that they felt like, Grammys still kind of have like tunnel vision when it comes to race and things, and that's why Lemonade didn't win over Adele. So I'm like, but then Harry Styles' album ended up winning, and people weren't. I don't know. I guess people didn't think Renaissance was as good, and maybe that's why there wasn't. I just don't remember there being like a whole controversy about it. You know what I mean? The Lemonade controversy was
Hmm.
huge. This one, I don't even remember. I don't even remember that Harry Styles won. Um,
Hmm.
so that's very interesting. But anyway, how are you feeling about? I know your choice was Brat, but I mean, for album of the year,
I mean, I'm very happy that Cowboy Carter won. I think when we were reviewing it, I think I liked it a little bit more than you were. I really liked the album. I honestly liked it more than Renaissance myself, just because it felt so versatile in its genre bending. Like
hmm
there are a lot of tracks that kind of break the bounds for Beyonce, and that was one of the things I loved most about Lemonade to begin with, was the fact that she could so quickly switch from like a rock song with Jack White and then
right.
switch to like an R&B song, and it felt so seamless,
hmm
like that on top of the everything else about Lemonade. I feel like Cowboy Carter. I was getting similar vibes from that, and after hearing the announcement, I went back and listened to it on one of my drives to clinicals, and I I was listening to it and it's like, yeah, this feels like an album of the year. Like I can see it. I re-listening to it after hearing it, it did not feel undeserved
And see,
at
like
the end.
for me and my mom, like we're not diehard Beyonce fans. Like I like Beyonce, and I
Hmm.
really enjoyed Lemonade. I still think it's one of the greatest albums ever. Um,
Hmm.
we're not like whatever Beyonce does, I'm going to like. Like that's how I am about Lupe Fiasco. Unless it's like really, really terrible. Pretty much, if you tell me that Lupe Fiasco did it, I will like. You could show me the same song by two different artists, and it would be
Hmm.
exactly the same. But if you tell me that Lupe Fiasco did it, I'll be like, oh, this is why this is so
It's
amazing.
this is actually the best thing, right?
Right, right. It's I have a Lupe bias, right? And so
Yeah.
like my sister, she's that way about Beyonce. Like she's never listened to country in her life. And then
Hmm.
as soon as she heard Cowboy Carter, she said, "This is the greatest country album I've ever heard." And I'm like, "Well, it's the only country album you've ever heard." But I say all that to say that like but Beyonce has done that where she's been able to give something to her fans and that her fans really loved. And again, my sister is a huge fan of Beyonce. She absolutely loved Cowboy
Right,
Carter, and that's what's important. Did you give your fans what they wanted to hear, even if you're trying something new? Um, so yeah, so
right,
like I said, I feel like it wasn't a surprise, but I'm not disappointed by it either. Um,
right.
I think we can go right along into record and song of the year. I was a
Hmm.
little surprised that Not Like Us ended up sweeping both categories. Not like again, not disappointed, right? But I was a little
Right,
surprised because I wasn't expecting it to have that reach. But I'm guessing
right.
that if people, I think like the way that I kind of split up record of the year and song of the year, I don't think people that vote on the Grammys really do that. I think they just go, what was the biggest song of the year? Which song had the biggest impact? And
Hmm.
while Espresso did do a lot, and some of those other big songs, Not Like Us landed Kendrick the Super Bowl. So that was
Hmm.
by far the most impactful song of the year because that
Right.
got him the Super Bowl. So if you're looking at song of the year and record of the year, there's no better fit. You know what I mean?
For me, I will never forget the moment. Like I'm pretty sure that song came out the second I noticed it. I like had texted you, and I was listening to it while I was also like kind of scrolling on social media, and I was already seeing like some like videos of clubs and parties were already playing the song within within the hour that it had come out,
hmm
and like it lit. It was the most explosive song I think I've ever seen, because I've seen songs blow up, but to be within the hour that it drops, it's being played like at clubs, like DJs are already spinning the song. Like I've never seen something catch fire as quickly as Not Like Us.
Mhm.
in my lifetime, as long as I've been like keeping track of things.
Yeah,
So
and
I
that's
think to me, like it broke the seal of rap,
right.
that it
Right.
became like something larger than just the genre that it was in. It became like a moment.
And again, it was the perfect marketing strategy campaign because as an artist, people always tell, okay, you got to pitch your song 4 weeks out. You got to tell people, build hype for it. And so for Kendrick, for Not Like Us, it could hit the ground running because how is he building hype? The rap beef. The rap beef was his entire
Right.
marketing campaign. He didn't have to do anything else. People were already tuned into what's going to happen next. Oh, I got to see how he's going to respond. And he was like,
Hmm.
all he had to do was hit send. Didn't have to make social
Right.
media content. Didn't have to say, hey, go check out my song. It's like, you guys already care because you want to know what I'm going to respond to Drake with. So, it
Right.
really is a masterclass in marketing. I'm like, shoot, I might go find somebody and be like, hey, you want to beef? Like, I am not a battle rapper. I can't even say that with a straight face. Um,
Right. You couldn't even get through the bit.
Moving on to some of the other categories, we got Best New Artist.
Best new artist.
Chaperone ended up winning. Like I said, my choice probably would have been Teddy Swims or Shabuzi because I was really I relate a lot more to them than I necessarily do with Chaperone. I
Hmm.
still haven't finished listening to her album.
Hmm.
But I did love. I don't know if you got a chance to hear her speech, but I did love what she said. Because she
Hmm.
mentioned that she was signed really, really young, and I didn't realize that she was signed when she was like 16, and then her
Oh
song
wow.
popping off enough, so her
Hmm.
label dropped her right before COVID. And
Oh.
so she was entering COVID, no
Hmm.
job, no experience, because she was signed when she was 16, no
Hmm.
money. Because again, you only get back when you're signed to a label deal. It's not like you make $300,000 a year. You only make back whatever wasn't spent on you, right? Because
Hmm.
all of it's basically just a loan. And I don't think a lot
Hmm.
of people realize that record deals, all they are is a loan. And a lot of times, like they'll do like a 70-30 deal, which means
Hmm.
like if you take 1 million to make your album, they give they take 70 cents and you get 30 cents, but that 70 cents goes until their loan is paid back. So you don't start making
Right.
30 cents until your album has made
Until you a
$1 million.
million dollars. Right.
And then they still are taking 70. So
Right.
all of that was hugely. And so she mentioned like labels. I got dropped when I was young. She was working as a bartender, as like a barista, I think all the way until like 2022. So she's like, as
Wow.
brand new, like she's brand spanking new. Um,
Right.
so she, mentioned like labels, I didn't have healthcare. I didn't have insurance. I had to go 2 very scary years without any of that. And she's
Hmm.
like, she's like, I've been in those rooms and you have the power to provide it and you just choose not to. And she's like, and then we as the artists, we are the reasons why you have labels. Like without artists, you have nothing, right? So
Right.
we're providing all this content and music for you to make millions off of, but what are you
Hmm.
giving to us?
What are you giving us back?
Right. So and she was like, we got you, do you got us? And I was like, wow,
Right.
really like to be on
That's a
that.
powerful.
Yeah, to be able to
Yeah.
in the moment.
I know I've loved. I haven't seen that speech. I'll have to definitely check it out.
Yeah, please
Um,
do. Please do.
from that, I know I've always really loved her stance on like paparazzi, like her disdain for like paparazzi and the really weird parasocial relationship that kind of forms with like
Mhm.
publicity and fans coming to try to take pictures and kind of like violating that like boundary. Like if she were just another woman on the street, would you be acting like the way you're acting? But because she's chaperone and you listen to her music, suddenly you feel this like this, not necessarily just not just desire, but like you feel like it's owed to you that you're allowed to then go and violate that person's boundaries. Like I've always found her stance on that to be very interesting, and I appreciate the illumination that she shines on her experience from it, because I'm sure I'm sure a lot of people in her situation may just not want to talk about it. May just want to like it's just the price that comes with, being as big as I've become. They may just not want to put focus on it. But the fact that she has and she illuminates it so clearly, I've always really appreciated. So I'll definitely have to check out her speech there.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like she's one of those like there's some artists who I feel like I look at the music that they do and what they do, and I'm like, you are in it for the fame. Some people like
Hmm.
fame and attention, and they just choose music because they're like, I can get a lot of fame and attention. Or they choose acting because I can get a lot of fame and attention. And it's like
Hmm.
for a lot of artists out there, even really, really popular ones, they would do it without any fame or attention just to
Hmm.
be able to make a living. Like I could clock into a 9 to 5 and be fine. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Right.
the Chappell Roan feels like one of those people that's like she's in it for the music. She just loves music, but like in order to make
Right.
a living, you kind of have to put the fame aspect on top in order to really because again, she was signed at 16. You think she'd be set, but then she had to go back to working as a barista in 2020. And
Right.
that doesn't tell you the disparity between making it. Like if you want to be able to
Hmm.
do it full time, you gotta
Hmm.
hit, these heights, millions of fans, millions of followers, all of this. Um, Otherwise
Right.
you gotta do something else. You know what I mean? And so I think she definitely represents those people that are really just in it for the music. And I can really respect that.
Hmm.
I really respect
Yeah.
that.
And like on the topic of best new artist, just her music alone, I really enjoyed her album. She's an artist I'm excited to see what else she does. I think this year there were a lot of really good picks, and I think this was a very difficult best new artist, at least
Oh
for
yeah.
me and what I'm interested in. Because as my pick, Kurungabin, I was just happy that they were nominated at all
Yeah.
because I'm just excited that they are picking up momentum a little bit, and I hope that they're able to run with it, at least in like the public eye,
Mhm.
and become a little bit bigger. But Dochi, seeing her up here, felt really great. Teddy Swims, Sabrina Carpenter, all of these artists, I think, like, hey, you really showed you got something this year, and like welcome.
Yeah, so moving on to producer of the year, we didn't really have any strong feelings about this one. I was a little worried that DJ Mustard was going to win it just because of Not Like Us. So I'm kind of glad that he didn't because I'm like, I don't feel like you should win producer of the year for one song. Now, maybe TV Off and Not Like Us, but even still,
Right.
I don't think you should win it for like he has 3 songs here, and everybody else has like 10. So my choice was
Right.
Ernest the Mile, of course. Daniel Negro ended up winning, which I mean, like I said, no disappointment there. He works a lot with Olivia Rodrigo and Chappell Roan. Um,
Hmm.
he's in that whole pop, space, and he's doing his thing because like I said, those are some really huge artists.
Right.
Moving on to songwriter of the year. This was Kate's choice when we originally did it. It was Amy Allen
Hmm.
who ended up winning. The female
Hmm.
songwriter who wrote Espresso and Please Please Please, which is very
Okay.
I'm glad she got recognition. Because you don't see I can't tell what the competition was. I'm not familiar with Jesse Joe Dillon or Jesse Alexander. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think she deserves credit for what she did with Espresso. I mean, that was the biggest
Hmm.
song until Not Like Us came out.
That
Uh,
was a right. That was a big song.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I think she deserves recognition. I will say, like I said, my choice was Ray, and so again, I'm not surprised that Amy Allen ended up winning. It's not really a disappointing thing. I will
Mhm.
say Ray had far and beyond the best live performance at the Grammys. If there was a Grammy for best live performance at the Grammys, I would give it to Ray, hands down. Her performance was phenomenal. I did not know she could sing like that. And like she has this song called Paralyzed with Lucky Day that I really like, but she doesn't show off her voice as much.
Hmm.
Um, and her verse doesn't really show like her verse in it doesn't show what she can do. Like when I saw that performance, I was like, whoa. And again, she's going up against Sabrina Carpenter performed, Cynthia Erivo performed, Ben
Hmm.
Boone performed. He did a backflip off of the stage. So the
Hmm.
competition was steep, and Ray absolutely crushed it. She was my favorite performance of the entire night. And Will Smith performed, and you all know how I love Will Smith, and I'm
You
still
love you some Will Smith.
that's the number one performance. So. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so like I said, not disappointed there, but I do have to shout out Ray because that performance was phenomenal. Um,
Okay.
and then into pop solo performance, I mean, for me, my choice was Espresso. Like, if it didn't end up winning Record of the Year, I did want it to win Best Pop Solo Performance. So that's
Yeah.
not really a surprise. Best Pop Duo, I don't think we liked most of the. I mean, I don't know if you liked Guess with Charlie XCX.
Oh no, I loved Guess. Guess was I really wish Guess had won there.
Okay, okay, so that would be your disappointment that
That
it
was that
did
was my
over
disappointment because
Jealousy. Okay.
but I did think Die with a Smile was gonna win.
Yeah, that song
Just
it,
it
no,
it
going
blew
crazy.
up too much.
I don't. And like, was it a part of like the Joker 2 soundtrack? I don't understand where it
I
came
think
from or how it blew up so much.
I haven't seen the movie. I'm guessing it did come from it.
Okay,
Like just I'm assuming so because I know Lady Gaga had an album uh with the release of the movie.
right. And the movie
I haven't listened
poorly.
to it, so
I mean, the movie was terrible and it did poorly, but the song, like the song, I dare I say, I'm pretty sure the song made more money than the movie. Being completely honest, Bruno Mars has like 150 million listeners right now because the song
that's
went that he is number one on Spotify because of this song. He did not drop an album. It is because of this song. So
just
I
because
don't
of
think
this
it's
song. Wow.
stretched to say it did better than the movie. But
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, best pop vocal album. My choice here, One Short and Sweet by Sabrina Carpenter. I do think it was a really great album. And again, hit me hard and soft. A lot of people wanted to see Billie Eilish get more love, and I can understand that. And hopefully it'll be her
hmm
time, sooner than later. Because
hmm
that album did become really popular. I think like Sabrina Carpenter's singles were more popular, but Billie Eilish's album was more popular. Like when Billie Eilish released Hit Me Hard and Soft, she rocketed to like the top 5 and stayed there for months because people were listening to the album. I think Short and Sweet
Right.
people just listen to Espresso and Please 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 and Taste rather than listen to the entire Short and Sweet album. But again, it ended up being seen as more popular, right? Like I think if you compare streams, like more people streamed "Hit Me Hard and Soft" as an album than people streamed "Short and Sweet" by Sabrina Carpenter. Because "Short and Sweet," it was definitely just a collection of songs. It was not like a story. It was not like a narrative. It was just here are some songs. And
But let but I think we do need to be for real though with Billie Eilish. She did get her time in the spotlight. Like when she was the new artist, she won like the triple derby because
mm,
she got best pop vocal album, best new artist, song of the year, album of the year, and record of the year. She
oh,
got all of those on her very
that's
first
quintuplet.
Grammy. Yeah, she
Oh,
got
oh,
everything.
so she's
The
fine.
only one she didn't win was best pop solo performance on her first year at the Grammys.
Okay, well,
Like
all right,
it
well,
was a great album. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Great album. I loved it and think very deserving of it. But she's not hurting for
a Grammy, right? Like
that
I
win.
know
She
Beyonce really isn't hurting for a Grammy either, but Billie Eilish definitely isn't either. Okay, well.
right.
All right. Well, do with that what you will. I appreciate you listening.
Like
She's definitely
if you're
not hurt
bummed
before. Yeah.
yeah, if you're bummed out she didn't win, valid, completely valid. I'm with you there. I see why. But it's also this isn't her first year, and I'm glad that somebody like a Sabrina Carpenter or a Chapel Roan were able to win on their first year, just like Billy was when it was her first year.
Yeah. Because again, Sabrina Carpenter's been doing this for 10 plus years. So, like, this is just her first time being recognized at the Grammys. So, I'm glad
Right,
she was able to
exactly.
come home with some hardware. I think she deserved it. Uh,
hmm
my only disappointment came in the best dance electronic recording section. Obviously,
Yeah,
he should have won.
obviously.
Everybody knows that. Neverender ended up winning. That's my only disappointing. Where I'm like, nah, that one right. That one right. You guys need to go back and redo that
Right.
one. But
Which but that was my pick. I was glad Neverender won because I think for the same because we were talking about this before, it's like we just feel differently. These are each our choices for a song that makes you want to dance. And
mhm,
like this was the song that made me want to dance slightly
Witchy,
more than
you wanted it.
Witchy
Yeah.
did. Right.
And I come from R&B. That's like I can hear
hmm
that in this track, and that's what gets me so excited. And I'm gonna repeat
hmm
it again if I'm not careful. So I'm just gonna move on so I don't keep talking.
So maybe we should go to a pop dance recording.
Yeah. This one I didn't have one. I mean, Von Dutch by Charlie XCX one, and I know you really like that song.
Great,
And the entire album.
great song. Yeah.
Um, Madison Beer, I think she's not a bad artist or anything. I'm not trying to, but I feel like she represents what I mean, the difference between artists that are in it for fame or the music. Like I feel like
hmm
she's in it to be popular. You know what I mean? Like that's just the vibe.
hmm
Like I could be totally wrong. Don't get me wrong, but if someone said
hmm
like, "Hey, you can make like 60K a year, 70K a year, you won't be popular with millions of followers, but you can make 70K a year making music." I feel like she'd be,
hmm
"No, I'm good. I need that. I need it to be six figures and have like lots of popularity and so that's what I mean, in case you're wondering what I mean. I feel like Chappell Roan would take that, but like I don't think she necessarily would.
I don't think I've even listened to that song. I don't know anything about Madison Beer
Yeah.
that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I
I'll have to look into her.
don't. Best Dance Electronic Album. Again, my choice was Timeless by Kate Trinata, but I'm not disappointed that
Hmm.
Brat by Charlie XCX ended up winning. That's not like a, oh my God, she won. Like I said,
Right,
it's your favorite album. We covered it extensively, and I know how much you loved it. So it wasn't a
right.
disappointing, unlike when Which he lost.
Although I was a little surprised that it did win because I think this is Brat's
Oh, really?
only win as an album.
Hmm.
Like I believe this is the only win Brat got, which
Was
just
Von
surprised
Dutch? Was Von Dutch and
No,
Von
Von
Dutch
Dutch was on it. Von
was
Dutch was on it. It's just I wasn't expecting Brat the album to win for this category, just
yeah.
because it didn't feel it felt more pop than it did dance electronic at its core, and for me it just felt a little awkward because a lot of other electronic albums don't really get recognition outside of this category. So for not Billie Eilish, for Charlie XCX to kind of dominate this one as well as the others just felt a little imbalanced. Still happy she got a Grammy for it though. I
Right.
think very deserving.
So then on remix, we have Espresso by Mark Ronson and Sabrina Carpenter. Honestly, I didn't like the remix. I thought it made it worse, and I feel like this song only won because it was Espresso combined with Mark Ronson.
Right.
Said this category, eh. We can shoot
Yeah.
all over to R&B. I am glad that a live performance
Oh,
ended up winning
what
R&B performance
R&B performance? Yeah.
because Made for Me by Money Long, it ended up winning as like live on BAT. Her live performance won, and to me, that's like, oh, okay, well, that's great. I'm actually very okay that a live performance is what won Best R&B performance. So
Hmm.
it does make
Right.
a lot of sense. But like I said, I didn't feel strongly about anything in here. Same thing with Best Traditional R&B. I think my choice was Make Me Forget by Money Long, but my second choice would
Hmm.
have been That's You by Lucky Day. So since she won in the
Right.
other category, works out for me. I mean, like, I'm fine. Um, really
If
glad.
I
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I can, real quick about the rock categories.
Oh,
Very, very happy that Saint Vincent won Best Alternative Album. We're All Born Screaming is a fantastic album. It was my pick, should have won. I'm really, really upset that what was it?
and
Best rock
yeah,
performance
you're
went
upset
to
that
the
the Beatles.
Beatles
Yep,
Now and Then
I knew it.
with AI, like an AI not generated, but an AI enhanced song of the
Oh,
Beatles because they
it's not.
used AI technology to isolate vocal tracks, like certain art, like I think like John Lennon's vocals or something. They isolated to try to enhance. Stop giving Grammys to the Beatles.
Do
There are
not.
so many other artists here that were deserving. I think St. Vincent should have won this or Pearl Jam. Like the fact that they give it to the Beatles, it feels like a disgrace to music in general. And it
I
was
mean,
something that really upset me that they actually did it at all
mhm.
because they're not around anymore. They didn't actually make any new music. Why are we still giving the Beatles Grammys for today?
Yeah, I did not know that that song was made with AI, and I am very against
No,
that. Uh,
not generative AI. They didn't use it to
Still,
like
they
create
used
new
it,
vocals,
but they
but
used
they
it in
they
it.
used AI tools
Right.
to isolate vocal tracks to
Hmm.
try to enhance them. I just think it's a disgrace to be
We
giving it
shouldn't be
to the
rewarding.
Beatles nowadays.
No, that should not be rewarded.
So
I agree with you
so
whole.
that was the only thing before we skip it entirely. I just wanted to put that out there because I
Hey,
felt
thank you
so
for throwing it.
strongly.
Yeah, because we didn't have a chance to cover it because I'm like, I don't know anything in rock. But I'm glad
Right.
about that. So I think where we are, so I'll hop back into R&B. Best
Our
R&B song was Saturn by SZA,
Saturn,
which
not
was my
surprised.
choice. Not really surprised. SZA is
Hmm.
on a tear right now between her new
Hmm.
movie, her Super Bowl performance, tour with Kendrick Lamar. This just adds to the brass. Really
Right.
surprised that best progressive R&B album, we got a tie between both of our picks. So glad to know.
Yeah.
So glad to know.
And why Lord?
And you chose Why Lot, and it got a tie. And I mean, I'm happy because um Jameson Ross worked on "So Glad to Know You" by Avery Sunshine, and he went
Hmm.
in Jacksonville with a couple of friends of mine, and I got to see him in Charlotte. I got a picture with him and everything, and he was one of the producers on that album. So that's
Hmm.
like very close to home, and that was one of those picks that's like you didn't even expect it to end up making it onto here, and it did, and I thought it
And it
was,
actually won.
yeah, it actually ended up winning. So I'm very happy, and like for it to be a tie,
Hmm.
so we both got what we wanted with Anderson .Paak as well. Uh,
Right.
I
It's
mean,
like I'm not mad, just
yeah.
surprised.
Best R&B album. I really didn't feel any of these albums were very strong, so for Chris Brown to win, it's fine by me. Um,
Yeah,
and then of course we go into rap. Kendrick, we knew he was going to sweep best rap performance and best rap
absolutely.
song. There was no question about that. I'm really
Yep.
glad, so glad that Rhapsody won
Yes, for
best
3 a.m.
melodic rap performance for 3 a.m. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know if she's going to hear this, but we were rooting for you the
We
entire.
were rooting for you.
And it was not easy because all the other artists on here are way bigger than Rhapsody is.
Hmm.
Are like she was going against Kalani, Beyonce, Future with The Weeknd. Even Lotto has ascended to another level because again, Rhapsody is very like, kind of classic R&B. I mean, classic
Right.
pop that's starting to fade out of existence more and more and more because people want to hear trap and stuff like that. And so for her to still win, it feels like it's not just a win for her, but it's a win for classic hip hop, for neo soul, for Erica Badu.
Right.
So
For
it's
for for a track
very,
that it feels so like spoken word as well.
hmm.
Like that's what like kind of blew my mind that it was still able to capture that victory. It felt just very satisfying to watch.
Yep, yep, yep. And then of course we close out with best rap album. I'm gonna let because I know how much you loved Alligator Bites Never Heal, so I'm gonna let you close it out on why
This was
it's deserving.
Oh my God, this was the thing that I was so happy she won for because I truly thought it was gonna go to "We Don't Trust You" by Future, just because of the fact that it's Future, who is a big rap artist, and the fact that it's kind of like tangentially related to the beef as kind of like
Right.
Kendrick throwing shade back at Drake and J. Cole in this album. I don't think J. Cole had a chance in hell here. I
I'm
don't
glad.
think Common really had a chance either.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, but I truly thought "We Don't Trust You" was going to take it. But the fact that Doechii won,
Hmm.
being the second only ever solo female artist to win Best Rap Album, it
Hmm.
it felt so good watching on an album that I just really loved. On top of things, like I'm not just happy that some of these other artists didn't win, because I would have been really upset if Eminem won or Common had
Right.
won for that album or J. Cole. But the fact that Doechii won because it was so good, it just it made me so happy for like this is the first time the Grammys have made me feel excited and happy for rap
Right.
because like it felt so great. It reminded me of like Killer Mike winning after having been making music for so long and finally getting recognition. Because when
Mhm.
you look at like Grammy nominations for rap albums, or art anything rap related, it feels like it's the same cycle of like 5 or 6 artists that get nominations and awards and recognition. And yet it's a
Right.
gigantic genre with
Eminem.
so many different, like an uncountable number of artists who all like deserve recognition in their own way. So to see a new up and comer who really has like grit and really has, I think, talent and the ability to stay in this world, the fact that she gets recognition again on like the first year she's blowing up because she was also nominated for best new artist.
Hmm. Yeah.
Felt so happy.
I think it was full circle. I think Future and Metro Boomin, We Don't Trust You, it had all the ingredients for an undeserved win. Big artist
Mm,
getting a killer feature that started off a whole social, cultural impact moment in the beef because that's what really started it off. And it was like, but again, we are not giving a Grammy to not like that or Kendrick Lamar's verse. Like we look at the entire thing, it was not good
right.
enough to win a Grammy. by far. And
Right.
so it feels good that at least I think out of any of these choices, I would have been okay with the auditorium winning. But I'm mainly just glad Eminem, J. Cole, and Future Metro Boomin did not win because I would have
Right.
been upset. So that's why I feel like overall when I look at these Grammys, I'm like, I don't like most of the time I'm like, screw the Grammys. Forget this. You know what I mean? Because you get so angry over like them missing stuff. But this year I'm like, it feels like the Grammys are more in touch with what people, audiences, fans really are consuming. I think in a long time. I don't know if I would say if ever, but it feels like it's been a long time since it's felt like, oh wow, this is actually lining up with what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people really like 3 a.m. A lot of people really like Alligator Bites Never Heal. And obviously,
Right.
a lot of people like So Glad to Know You, like more obscure stuff that's like kind of getting like it feels like it's getting its recognition, and obviously not like
Hmm.
us won everything, deserved everything that it ended up winning. So let us know how you're feeling about the Grammys. Were you
Hmm.
disappointed? Were you upset? Was there a huge, snub or something like that that you didn't agree with? And because we want to know your thoughts. And until next time, people.
Until then.